Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video we're going to talk Star Collecting Age of Sigmar Warcry, and today we're going to take a look at the Khainite Shadowstalkers and how we can build up a fully functioning warband with this cool box set of these particularly unique Daughters of Khaine models. Now, in Warcry, the Khainite Shadowstalkers are their own allegiance. They are, at current, the only non-Chaos warband to have a official sort of Warcry-style box set like this. They came out in Warcry Catacombs alongside the Scions of the Flame. Now in this video we're going to go through everything that comes inside this initial box set, talk about what all these models can do. We'll then take a look at some other units we can bring in as some allies and indeed some other followers and heroes to the force to build upon it, and finally finish off with a little sample 1000 renown warband for you to use as some inspiration for creating your own warband at the end of the video. So with all of that said, let's take a look at what exactly we get inside this box set. And first of all, we get our one leader option, and that is the Shroud Queen. She is a pretty solid fighter, and definitely one of the more bulkier characters we're going to get in the Khainite Shadowstalkers at 20 wounds and toughness 4, both things that are quite rare. We are generally quite low toughness in this warband. She has her Cursed Missiles, which have a 4-inch range for 3 attack, strength 4 to 4 on the damage, or her Umbral Blade in combat for a 1-inch range, 4 attack, strength 4 to 5 on the damage. She's also got access to a really cool quad called Ensnaring Darkness. We allocate a number of damage points equal to the value stability to all visible enemy fighters within 3 inch. However, instead, the fighter can draw on their Shadow Blood, and if they do so, allocate 3 damage points to themselves, and you allocate the number of damage points equal to the value of this ability to all visible enemy fighters within 6 inch instead. Now we then get 2 Dark Flame Warlocks, and you can have a variety of different builds. These are the 2 models at the back left you can see. The cool Witcher-like looking model especially is a particular favourite. And they have the ability called Harness Shadow, where until the end of the battle range you can subtract 1 from attack characteristics of attack actions made by enemy fighters that target this fighter or fight within 3 inch of this fighter. We then have 5 Shroud Blade models. Now these can be built with a variety of either twin Umbral Blades or an Umbral Spear. And it's also worth noting as well that if you pick up a second of this box set, that the Shroud Queen can actually be built as a Shroud Blade as well, which I think is a really nice touch. If you're going to pick up double of this kit, it just makes it really useful in Warcry games. Now, Shroud Blades are pretty stock standard. They're toughness 3, 8 wounds apiece, and they've got a different loadout of attacks, generally 4 attacks at strength 3 with the Cursed Swords, or 3 attacks at strength 4 with those Umbral Spears, and a 2-inch range on the Spears instead. Lastly, we have a Slaughter Shade. Now, this can have either the Whip, or it can have its Umbral Spear. The Whip on this model is pretty nice for a really decent ranged attack. Slaughter Shades can also do the Instrument of Khaine double, where a fighter with this ability can only activate it if there has been a fighter taken down by an attack action made by them this activation. They can make a bonus move or a bonus attack action afterwards, so really good for just keeping the killing going. With all that said, let's take a look at some other units we can bring into the force as some allies and other heroes. And so, looking at some other models we can bring in, first of all, I like the Sorceress, and I particularly like her when we look at bringing her in from Anvilgard. Of course, you can bring her in from a variety of different cities, which are all going to make some really interesting sort of plays, but Anvilgard in particular, she's going to get the Vitriolic Spray ability, where you can pick a visible enemy fighter within 3 inch of her and roll a number of dice equal to the value of this ability. For each 2+, allocate 3 damage points to that fighter, and in addition, until the end of the battle range, you halve the toughness characteristic of that fighter as well. I think this is just really solid, especially when you consider she's got her nice 3 to 7 inch ranged attack at 2 attack, strength 3, 3, 6, and, you know, her little stabby dagger as well in combat with a 2-inch range, 3 attacks, 3s, 1, 4, 20 wounds, toughness 3. She's a solid support hero for the army that can also do some decent damage with that quad. Now, we've then got the Assassin, which I think is another really interesting option. 5 attack, strength 4, 2, 4 on the damage. He's just a good, solid, fast attacking hero available to you that's really going to play off with a bunch of the things you've already got going well for Anvilgard and for your Khainite Shadowstalkers. Now, speaking of those Khainite Shadowstalkers, the Nether Maze box set, I think, is a really interesting pickup for the army. This is going to give you a cool alternate Shroud Queen model along with 2 other Shroud Blades and another one of the Darkfire Warlocks as well. For me, this is just a really cool box set to pick up to give you some alternate models to make everything unique in that warband, and definitely if you're playing Khainite Shadowstalkers can be well worth picking up. Now lastly, a Knight Quester. Now, this is obviously going against all that Dark Elf grain, but I really do think you can make some cool models. There's some cool stories out there with Dark Elves working alongside Stormcast, and I think a Knight Quester is definitely someone who would rock around with a bunch of assassins at all possible. He gives you a really good option as having a nice, tough hero, something you definitely lack with the Khainite Shadowstalkers. He's going to have a nice 30 wounds, toughness 6, and 4 attacks at strength 4, 2, 5 on the damage. And he's also going to have his nice bulwark ability called Shield Bash, where he can effectively smash his shield into opponents' faces to do some damage. And he's also going to be able to bolster his own toughness as well, thanks to his staunch defender rule, which is really cool. So he's just going to provide you with some nice toughness to your force, a good place to sort of focus, I guess, a fighter that can hold an objective really well, meanwhile moving about all your Khainite Shadowstalkers. With all of that said, let's take a look at how we can build a nice warband. And so here we have our sample warband. Now, our leader is going to be one of the Shroud Queens we've taken. It is the only leader option we have, so taking it. And then for our warriors, we've just gone with taking a bunch of Shroud Blades in here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 Shroud Blades in there, all with cursed swords for nice and cheap. This just can provide us with a nice, decent amount of heroes. You could certainly put in some Slaughter Shades or Dark Flame Warlocks if you want. You'd need to drop some Shroud Blades 2 for 1 in that case, but I think the Shroud Blades, just having multiple of these smaller fighters, is definitely worth it, especially with their ability to move. The Shadow Leap double is just so useful in having lots of different fighters on the field. We then have a second Shroud Queen as a hero option for the warband. She's going to provide some additional support and just be another good hitting piece for the army. And finally, a Knight Quester in there as an ally. He's just going to provide us with a really nice solid piece that can hold an objective. Meanwhile, having those Shroud Queens go around and do some fighting, while the Shroud Blades go pick up objectives and do some hit and run tactics across the board. If you've been playing with Khainite Shadowstalkers in Warcry, let us know how you've been going and what you've been doing. There's definitely some room to move around in this. I think a Sorceress is definitely an interesting option, though you would need to play around, probably drop the secondary Shroud Queen in there if you're going to take the Sorceress. But all in all, a fun little warband to play around with. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. And so that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And drop us a comment down below letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come help support the channel in another way, you can do so either by joining our Patreon or YouTube members, or grabbing some channel merch off our merch store on Teespring, which is on our YouTube store as well. You can also come chat with me and other members of our little community here and our Discord server, which is linked down in the video's description, along with the Patreon and YouTube members links. And as a special shout out to all those Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, James Soren, Greenskins Gaming, AJC, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Agu, Anthony B, Anton Nilsson, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek, and Giapi390. And a special thank you to our YouTube members: Greenroots Gaming, Kenton Young, Chris Wallace, Ronya, Locke Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Revenar, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Sean Scott, Pink Nico Fire, and Robin Mankiller as well. Lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork for the channel, and to everyone who comes on the channel and helps us create everything we do. Thank you all for watching once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.